Archaeologists uncovered several pyramids in China and other countries when they began exploring for remnants of ancient civilizations. The Chinese pyramids were newly erected and had no historical relevance, whereas the Egyptian pyramids were interesting, very old, and had a great deal of historical worth. These pyramids had been carefully constructed, and deconstructing them without the use of equipment would take years. Some of Egypt's pyramids are still standing tall with little deterioration in their basic structure, and seeing such mathematically sound structures made exclusively with the materials available at the time and without any understanding of current building processes is historically significant. In this video, we shall discuss top 10 interesting facts about the pyramids of Giza. 1. Tombs. Tombs were exclusively erected for pharaohs in ancient Egypt, not for the common public, but because Egyptian dynasties lasted for such a long time, there are many tombs still standing today. The tombs of the pharaohs were built to keep their bodies and souls safe. The Egyptians believed in the afterlife and believed that the deceased would continue to live as they did on earth. This can be seen in the practice of making food gifts to the dead in order to aid them in their afterlife flourishing. As the number of tombs grew, people felt compelled to preserve them, which led to the invention of pyramids. Pyramids were mostly used for pharaohs' tombs, but other, less important persons had miniature pyramids called monas built well below the main pyramids to symbolize their status in relation to their monarchs. 2. Slaves. When the Egyptian pharaohs took power, they promptly ordered the construction of a new pyramid. The building authorities did not force the pharaoh's servants to build the pyramids, contrary to popular belief. The pyramids were built entirely by volunteers who were paid on a daily basis. They were also provided complimentary meals to keep them well and strong so that they could continue to build the pyramids despite the fact that the stones were heavy and there was little technology to assist them. It's hard to imagine that all of the work was done by hand, and researchers are still trying to figure out what instruments the Egyptians used to achieve such perfection in measurement and alignment. 3. Pyramid direction. The majority of the pyramids were constructed on the west bank of the Nile waterway, Egypt's sole navigable river. People believed that waterways were the finest means to convey commodities at the time, so it was also considered a national highway. They also believed that their sun god would accompany them on their journeys on the water in his own solar boat. The structures were composed of limestone with a high shine on the outer layer. The reflecting aspect of this surface aided in the preservation of the mummies by deflecting sunlight. The setting sun was supposed to be the location of the kingdom of the dead, hence the pyramids were built where the sun set. Another observation that was made about the pyramids was that they all pointed to the north, and the pole star was precisely above the pyramid. Another fascinating fact is that the positioning of the pyramids resembled constellations, and it remains a mystery how the Egyptians were able to be so precise without any advanced knowledge in this field. 4. Giza. The Great Pyramid of Giza is the oldest and largest of the 3 pyramids that were discovered there. This pyramid is one of the world's 7 wonders. It was constructed between 2580 and 2560 BC for Pharaoh Khufu of the 8th dynasty. It has chambers designed specifically for the king and queen, as well as the robber's tunnel, a modern opening gate, the grand gallery, and a massive hole deep within the pyramid. This pyramid was built with approximately 2.3 billion stone, although its exact measurements are impossible to calculate because they are in Egyptian units. There are few other pyramids as fascinating as the Giza pyramid, making it a popular tourist attraction. The popularity of this pyramid accounts for the majority of the government's tourism revenue. 5. Exterior. The pyramids were built with great care, demonstrating the Egyptians' tremendous love and respect for their pharaohs and the dead in general. The pyramids were constructed of local limestone, which was abundant in Egypt, and their exteriors were finely polished. These stones used to gleam in the sunlight, transforming the pyramid into a massive gem. They were seen from the Israelite mountains, and others claim that they were also visible from the moon. Another unique aspect of these pyramids was that, even when the sun was scorching hot outside, the temperature within stayed constant at 20 degrees Celsius, thus acting as a big air conditioner. 6. Doors. The pyramid's doors were quite hefty. It's possible that only the Egyptians knew how to open these massive doors. The doors were so hefty that they were nearly unrecognizable as doors since they opened so slowly. Their opening mechanism was first found when experts studying the Great Pyramid recognized they were giant swivel doors. From the inside, the door was relatively easy to open with one hand, yet it was nearly hard to open from the outside. It's unclear how the Egyptians were able to balance these 20-ton doors to achieve this effect. 7. Tunnels. Tunnels were discovered beneath the Giza pyramids, and this shows that the Egyptians had mastered this building technology way before we rediscovered it. As well as tunnels, boxes that were cut with great precision were also found. 8. Time to build. A pyramid took 200 years to construct. The construction of these magnificent pyramids took a long time and work, with each one taking around 2 centuries. In ancient Egypt, over 138 pyramids were erected, and their beauty resides not only in their construction, but also in the incredible amount of care that went into their placement in relation to the stars. 9. Weight of stones. The stones weighed as much as elephants. The stones used to construct the pyramids weighed over 10 tons each, making them nearly as heavy as an elephant. Scientists are still trying to figure out how they were able to lift these stones up to the heights of the pyramids. The pyramids climbed to around 203 steps, and each stone was put with incredible accuracy, and they are still standing today. 10. The loss of its treasure. By 1000 BC, every pyramid had been looted of its treasure. Egyptians thought that their pharaohs, together with their valuables and occasionally even their slaves, should be buried together. As a result, gold, jewelry, clothing, and other valuables were buried with the mummies. Other countries' monarchs, on the other hand, have destroyed the pyramids and stolen the jewels and wealth back to their own kingdoms over time. Although the pyramids are extremely difficult to destroy, smaller pyramids were targeted and their treasure looted. A failed break-in is documented, and the deep hole created in the pyramid's construction can still be seen today. The ancient Egyptians' ability to construct buildings with such accuracy is astounding, and this precise, sophisticated level of construction can be found in various Egyptian monuments, not just the pyramids. When you compare the earlier pyramids to the later versions, you can notice a growth in their construction processes, such as the fine polishing of the exteriors. Here are your top 10 interesting facts of the pyramids.
Hope you got some value. If so, make sure to subscribe to us for more videos and tap the bell icon to get.
Did you also know that history's most successful pirate wasn't a bearded, eye-patch-wearing man but a woman? And did you know that humans actually have the power to smell rainfall before it arrives? If you answered no to any of those, then congratulations. You're in for a huge treat, because here we've compiled 100 totally random and fascinating facts that will leave you feeling astonished. So read on, and remember that not one but 2 golf balls have been hit on the moon with a makeshift 6-iron. 1 Victorians once used leeches to predict the weather. George Merriweather was a Victorian doctor and a fan of poetry. In fact, it was in a poem that he found the inspiration to build the Tempest Prognosticator, a kind of barometer powered by leeches. The 3-foot-tall contraption was as beautiful as it was intended to be useful. The brass and mahogany structure held 12 glass vials in place, each of which contained a single leech. If it was going to rain soon, the leeches would slither to the top of the vial. By the end of his project, Merriweather had grown so attached to his leeches, he swore that they had befriended him. Unfortunately, only a few of them were actually successful at predicting the weather. Others, he wrote, were absolutely stupid. See, your funny bone is actually a nerve. The name funny bone comes from the humerus bone, which connects the shoulder to the elbow. However, that's not the source of the tingling sensation you feel when you bump your elbow just right. It's actually the result of the humerus bone coming into contact with the ulnar nerve, which is responsible for telling the brain about feelings in the ring and pinky fingers. Green, the chief translator of the European Parliament, speaks 32 languages fluently. Since 2002, the Greek translator Ioannis Ikonomou has been the chief translator of the European Parliament. With 32 languages under his belt, he merits the position. He initially moved to Brussels to be an interpreter, a valuable position in the EU capital, but after he learned all 12 official languages of the EU, he kept going and now speaks even more, including Bengali, Swahili, and Turkish. The most requested funeral song in England is by Monty Python. A survey of funeral directors by Cooperative Funeral Care, for the BBC, found that the most frequently requested song to play at funerals in the United Kingdom is "Always Look on the Bright Side of Life" by Monty Python, from their irreverent comedy classic Life of Brian. It beat out Frank Sinatra's My Way. 5 Research shows that all blue-eyed people may be related. At least, they may share the same distant ancestor. After studying the DNA of blue-eyed individuals from Scandinavia, Turkey, Jordan, and India, Danish researchers found that they all had identical gene sequences for eye color. They believe this trait comes from a single individual, called the founder, whose genes mutated between 6,000 and 10,000 years ago. Before that, everyone had varying shades of brown eyes. 6 Charles Darwin's personal pet tortoise didn't die until recently. Okay, technically she wasn't his pet, but after his tour of the Galapagos Islands, Charles Darwin brought back a 5-year-old tortoise he named Harriet. She outlived her adopter by 124 years, ultimately making it to a whopping 176 years old. Harriet lived out her final years as part of the family of Steve crocodile hunter Irwin in Australia, until she passed away in 2006. The average person will spend 6 months of their life waiting for red lights to turn green. Driving can be a fun and liberating activity, until you get stuck at a red light, that is. The National Association of City Transportation Officials says that the average time spent waiting at a red light is 75 seconds, accounting for approximately 20% of all driving time. That's a whole lot of time doing nothing and just another reason to switch to public transportation. A bolt of lightning contains enough energy to toast 100,000 slices of bread. If you consider that each bolt of lightning contains more than 5 billion joules of energy, then the average 1,000-watt, 2-slice toaster could be powered for 84,000 minutes with just one strike. That's just enough time to toast about 100,000 slices of bread, bagels, English muffins, whatever you prefer. 9 President Lyndon B. Johnson owned a water surfing company. Always the joker, Lyndon B. Johnson would surprise guests at his Texas ranch by driving them down the hill in his amphicar, claiming the brakes had gone out. Once it hit the lake, their panic would subside when they realized the car had been designed to function in water. 10 David Bowie helped topple the Berlin Wall. While David Bowie's trio of albums recorded in Berlin are considered among his best work, it's not the only legacy he has in the German city. In 1987, his performance of "Heroes" in front of the Reichstag as part of the Concert for Berlin was loud enough and close enough to the wall to be heard in East Berlin, where such music was forbidden. It sparked a police crackdown, and, according to The Guardian, many of the eyewitnesses claimed that the violent police crackdown on the 3rd night of the concerts were crucial in changing the mood against the state. 11 Cherophobia is the word for the irrational fear of being happy. No, it's not the fear of Cher, as the name might lead you to believe. It comes from the Greek word, chero, which means to rejoice. People who suffer from cherophobia are often afraid, cripplingly so, of doing anything that might lead to happiness. This includes participating in fun activities and rejecting opportunities that may lead to positive outcomes. 12 You can hear a blue whale's heartbeat from 2 miles away. The blue whale is the largest animal on the planet, weighing up to 150 tons and measuring up to 90 feet long. Naturally, an animal this massive would have an equally huge heart. Roughly the size of a small cock, the blue whale's heart weighs about 1,300 pounds. To move blood through its colossal body and arteries, its heart beats so powerfully, you can hear it from 2 miles away. You just might miss it, though, as its heart only beats 8 to 10 times per minute. Nearly 30,000 rubber ducks were lost at sea in 1992 and are still being discovered today. Over 25 years ago, a cargo ship traveling from Hong Kong to the United States accidentally lost a shipping crate in the Pacific Ocean. Inside that crate were 28,000 rubber ducks unwittingly about to embark on many long journeys across the globe. As rubber ducks continue to pop up on shores from Australia to Alaska, they've enlightened our understanding of ocean currents. Some have made it all the way to the Atlantic Ocean while others have been found frozen in Arctic ice. 14 There's a Manhattan-specific ant. On Broadway medians between 63rd and 76th Streets, biologists discovered a new species of ant. They named it Manhattan ant, naturally. Hey, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. 15 The inventor of the Frisbee was turned into a Frisbee after he died. Steady Ed Hedrick invented the Frisbee in the 1950s, then went on to create the sport of disc golf in the 1970s. When he died in 2002, his final wish was to have his ashes turned into What else? A frisbee. His son said it was his father's dream that they play with him after death, and that he might even accidentally end up on someone's roof. 16. There's a bridge exclusively for squirrels. To provide safe passage to squirrels attempting to cross the N44 motorway, Netherlands officials built a rodent-only bridge. While it may have been a kind-hearted gesture, it might not have been the most economically sensible one. Costing £120,000, over a 2-year span the bridge was used by just 5 squirrels in 2 years. In 2014 3 squirrels, and in 2015 2 squirrels, were spotted on the bridge, the government said in a statement. 17 subway footlongs aren't always a foot long. The New York Post measured the actual length of subway footlongs in New York City and found they averaged 11 inches, not 12. The sandwich chain commented, with regards to the size of the bread and calling it a footlong, Subway footlong is a registered trademark as a descriptive name for the sub sold in Subway restaurants and not intended to be a measurement of length. The controversial issue was even taken to court, where the judge ruled in Subway's favor, saying most sandwiches are in fact 1 foot long, but due to perfectly natural and unavoidable vagaries in the baking process, a very small fraction of sandwiches fell about a quarter inch shy of 12 inches. Marie Curie's notebooks are still radioactive. The mother of modern physics was known for her work with radioactive materials and the discovery of elements like polonium and radium. Unfortunately, her research took a hefty toll on her health, leading to aplastic anemia, which caused her death. The exposure to radioactivity didn't just affect her, it also affected most of her belongings, including her clothes, furniture, and books. Now, more than a century later, Marie Curie's notebooks have to be stored in a lead box, as they are still radioactive, and will be for another 1,500 years. 19 and 3 divorce filings include the word Facebook. That was the case in 2011, according to the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers, though that number has likely risen since. We've had instances where they pull up Facebook in the course of a deposition, divorce lawyer Marion Rosen told ABC News. Once it's out there for the world, it's very difficult to erase from the past. There are going to be trails that can be followed. 20 blood banks in Sweden notify donors when blood is used. Blood donors receive a text message when their blood is used to help a patient. We get a lot of visibility in social media and traditional media thanks to the SMS, Carolina. A communications manager at the Stockholm Blood Service said, but above all we believe it makes our donors come back to us and donate again.
Hope you got some value. If so, make sure to subscribe to us for more videos and tap the bell icon to get notified with every new video from us. See you in the next video.